Good day. My name is Richard Pagett. I'm a full professor of the European Centre for Peace and Development, which is part of the UN University for Peace, based in Belgrade, Serbia, though I am from and in the United Kingdom currently. I'm going to address some things about sustainable development and sustainable production. I think these are particularly relevant, and as we start to come through this recent event that's worldwide, it will have even more resonance, I think. And it'd be interesting to gain your views, particularly those of you who are within the network that I'm involved in, which is the Skillman network, where we share views and opinions and learn from each other. As well as being a full professor of sustainable development, my day job is actually as a practitioner, a consultant on sustainable development and climate change. And I've been working on climate change for a very long time, for far longer than it became mainstream. So I've been living with this issue of sustainability and sustainable production for some time. And so my sector is actually, I cut across multiple sectors, agriculture, fisheries, urban development, automotive industry, aviation, ports, harbours, and so on. What I find is that sustainable production is often associated with sustainable consumption as well. So SCP, sustainable consumption and production. And we have not really, I believe, understood the concept of sustainability in that part. Because what I find is that we have yet to understand that even though we're using renewable resources, such as water or soil, there is a finite limit to that if we start to use that resource beyond the productivity of the resource. So for instance, if you have $1,000 in the bank and you have an interest rate that gives you $10 a year interest, and you start to use $11 a year, then sooner or later you will run out of money because you're using more than than can be supplied. You're using more than the $10, and that's exactly the way at the moment that we use our natural resources. We use them efficiently, and we're doing better at that. But we have no concept yet of whether we are using them beyond their productive rate. So that is one of the first points, is that we tend to associate efficient use of resources with being sustainable. It's only sustainable if we aren't eating into the capital of those natural resources. That's the first point. So the priorities related to sustainable development and adoption of sustainable production and circular economy is quite simply to make sure we understand that. Because if we continue doing as we are doing now, then we will run out of certain key resources. Now we could actually use the example of the rare earth elements. Although they're rare, or they have the name rare, they're actually quite common in rocks, but the process for getting at them is quite involved, and we have to crunch a lot of material. And there's very few places in the world where those rare earths are available easily. And so we could foresee in the future rare earth elements which appear in your wind turbines and your fancy cars and your televisions and your mobile phones and your laptops. Everything that we want that's glitzy actually has got rare earth elements in it. Small amounts, but nonetheless, when you have billions of people using those small amounts, it adds to a lot. So we will start to see some evidence of control, political control of resources. So although something might be commonly available, it actually isn't. And at the moment, when we produce our televisions and our LED systems and our mobile phones, we have no concept of how much we're depleting any available natural resource if it's under political control, because we have no idea how to control the politics of it. So a priority is to understand better our relationship with the use of natural resources. And just because we use them efficiently doesn't mean we're using them sustainably.